The shutters hung from their hinges at oblique angles like ragged sails. In the stream that ran around the little patch of land, bottle-green water flowed over stones covered in moss, dragonflies hovering in the reflected light like miniature helicopters. Around the house were flowering thistles and other bushes Blanc didn't know the names of. At one corner to the rear, an ancient oleander grew as high as the gable, releasing an intoxicating perfume from its green leaves and blood-red flowers. It was already so hot that the cicadas were clicking away in the trees. Blanc weighed the blacksmith-made key in his hand. It was as heavy as a hammer, a piece that any local museum would have been proud to display. He used his Opinel knife to clear away the vine growth around the lock and inserted the key. It took a few minutes and all his strength to get the rusty mechanism to work. At least nobody had broken in, he thought, taking a deep breath of the aromatic air outside before venturing into the murky interior. It had the cool of some ancient ruin, and a dusty smell somewhere between sand and old paper. Nobody had ever cleared the house out. Blanc had walked into a time capsule. A kitchen with yellow marble worktops and an ancient enamel sink with a dulled bronze faucet. 5 non-matching chairs stood around a wooden table that once had been painted white but was now chipped and scratched. Blanc entered the living room, a little table from the 1960s. A fireplace of soot-coated stone, and a sofa on which lay the desiccated corpse of a bat. In the bedroom he came across a mahogany wardrobe from the Empire period, which would have cost a fortune in Paris. Next to it was the iron frame of a double bed. No mattress. That was where his uncle had died, Blanc recalled. In the bathroom stood an enormous bathtub with cast-iron feet in the shape of fierce lions, encrusted in dirt, and lying in it 3 open wine bottles, the contents of which had long since evaporated. Blanc decided not to take the stone stairs up to the next floor. He went back into the hallway, where a grey telephone with a dial stood on a little shelf. He lifted the receiver. The line was dead. What else had he expected? He opened the fuse box next to it, hesitated for a second, then pulled down the main switch. He expected to hear a series of bangs as ancient fuses blew, to see sparks and smell the stench of melted cables. Instead, a little living room lamp lit up, giving a yellowish light through the dust on the bulb. So there was still electricity. He suddenly remembered that every summer he got a bill from the electricity company that he never understood, but paid it all the same. Now he realized what it related to. Blanc pulled out his cell phone. No reception. Probably because of the cliff that held up the rear of the house. Some advantages, then, he thought. Blanc went back out again. He was still exhausted from his last row with Geneviève, from the long overnight journey down from Paris, from the heat, and from the task ahead of turning this wreck into an inhabitable house again. All his possessions were in his old green Renault Espace. He and Geneviève had bought the car when the children were still small. It was spacious, but unfortunately was prone to go on strike as often as the trade union members who made it. His wife, his ex-wife, had left him the car. He wondered what sort of car her new man drove, then told himself not to be an idiot. "Hey!" An aggressive voice yelled from somewhere on the other bank of the Toulouse River. "The shack isn't for sale. It belongs to some idiot from Paris." "I'm the idiot from Paris," Blanc called back. He spotted a white-haired but not very old man sitting on a dented green tractor, scowling at him suspiciously from the opposite bank. Behind him was a dirty white-plastered house of an ill-defined shape, surrounded by rusty iron scaffolding, but with no wooden planking. Somewhere in the distance a goat was bleating. Had to be a farmhouse, Blanc reckoned. "I'm the new inhabitant, too," he said in a more friendly voice. The last thing he needed was to be on bad terms with his neighbor. The man on the tractor was small and wiry, like a bantamweight boxer.